What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of the podcast Sitting Tall with me, Casey Ellen, and my buddy Chamberlain.
Yes,
and
sir.
we have, I don't know if anybody knows me, it's I got a double treat today for my very special guest. He not only won Survivor, which is one of my favorite shows of all time, season 15, 2007 in China, but he also creates custom Funko Pops, which is amazing because it's one of my also hobbies you see in the back there. And we're definitely going to show a picture of that at the end of the episode. But this is Todd Herzog. Thank you for joining the show.
Woohoo! Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
No problem.
And yes, Survivor and Funko Pops are two of my favorite things too. So that's awesome.
It's literally
a win-win.
I could literally, that's all I need the rest of my life. Just give me Survivor, give me Funko Pops.
Yes.
I'm golden.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
So usually we like to kind of start, we get a little bit about your background, like, tell us a little about your upbringing. I know, it's pretty cool because you have a Wikipedia page, which is freaking pretty cool. You get to kind of have a little bit of background, but we kind of want to learn a little bit about you, like where you're from, how you even Survivor even came to fruition and stuff like that. So take it away.
Well, it all started on January 29th, 1985. I was born in a small town called Pleasant Grove, Utah. Raised Mormon, so I'm the oldest of 5 kids. Utah is known for Mormons, the religion and that kind of thing. And so I grew up in a really happy place, to be honest with you. Like, my family all gets along, and I ended up having 4 siblings younger than me, so I'm the oldest of 5. I was like the nerdy, chubby kid, didn't really have many friends growing up. But I wanted that to change as I wanted friends. I wanted to meet people and get to know people. And Survivor started when I was 16, and I fell in love with the show instantly. And so as soon as I got into 10th grade, I had this idea. I was going to go around high school and I was going to find all of the other kids who looked like they did not fit in either and invite them over to my house to watch Survivor. So I invited 14 people from all different groups that I had no idea who they were to my house to come watch Survivor. And it was Survivor Marquesas was when this happened. And all of them showed up. And we created our own clique. And we were known as the Survivor Kids, like the weird Survivor Kids. And we had a club in school.
Yeah.
And anybody was welcome to join. As it grew and it became really popular, where people were like, this is so weird, but so fun. And we would have our own Survivor challenges outside in the summertime. And, we would get together to just hang out outside of Survivor night. So by my senior year in high school, we had 40 to 50 people every week coming over for Survivor night. And it was just kind of an awesome thing that happened because, I knew what it was like to feel like I had no friends and I was on the outside, and I felt like nobody should feel like that. So the rules were basically if no matter who you are, as long as you treat everybody with respect, you're allowed to come and hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. And I was voted most likely to appear on Survivor my senior year, which I thought was, amazing. And then back then you had to be 21 to audition for Survivor. So I graduated high school, got a job as a flight attendant, and was waiting for my 21st birthday. And as soon as that happened, I applied. First time I heard nothing. Second time I made it to finals. And then I got cut and was devastated. And I wasn't going to try again because I was like, I don't need Survivor in my life if that's what's up. But I was like, I have to try again. So I tried again the third time for Survivor China and made it all the way. And it happened.
So they have a process where you can make, you said you made finals. So it's just not like you interview, that's it. It's
it's a whole process, especially. So back then, you get flown, or you did get flown out to LA. You were put up in a hotel for 8 days. You had an alias. You were surrounded by all of the other finalists, but you couldn't speak to each other. You had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with these people. You were being interviewed by executives and producers and Jeff Probst and Mark Burnett. And I mean, it was like a
Everybody.
process.
Oh,
And so back then to actually get through it all was just so intimidating, but kind of exciting at the same time.
yeah. It's like a very exhilarating job, interview.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, so once all of the final interviews were finished, this was like February. They told me you're 97% on the show, but we don't know yet because they're not happy with the rest of the cast. So
Oh,
I waited from February until like May, being told, we need you to mail in clothes. We need you to get these vaccines. We need you to tell us like your favorite foods and blah, blah, blah. But I wasn't officially on the show yet. And 15 days before I actually flew to China is when I found out that I was 100% officially cast.
oh, only at 15 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's
I mean, that was wild.
yeah. And what? So how were you at the time? So you were like 21, 22?
22.
Oh my God, that must
Yeah.
have been a whirlwind of emotions and
It was crazy. I mean, it was
yeah.
my dream. It was my goal, and a lot of people told me that, this is like, this is ridiculous. Like that will never happen. That is not something that is possible. So like, why are you even like investing so much of your time into it? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why would I not follow my dream? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you not to be a doctor. I'm
Mhm.
not telling you not to do what you love. So don't tell me what I can't do.
Yeah, no,
Um,
100%.
Even when I got cast, like people were scared for me. They were like, oh, we don't want him to go out there and be disappointed if he's like voted out early. And I'm like, listen, I don't need you guys to give me approval or not, whether I can do this, because I know I can.
Yeah.
And I did.
And not only did you do it, you went on and won.
Yeah.
Were you at that time, were you like the youngest Survivor winner at the time? I'm assuming so.
So Jenna Maraska, who won Survivor
Mm.
Amazon, she was 21.
Okay.
So I was the youngest male to win at that time. And then Fabio beat me.
Jerk.
I know.
Not he's
Fabio.
There's
Fabio.
always somebody that wants to beat the record or do better all
Yeah.
the time. That's how it always is,
Yeah.
really. So, what did your fellow Survivor friends think about you joining the show? Because I'm pretty sure you probably stayed in contact with some of them, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, so I couldn't tell them that I was even
Mhm.
on. Like I couldn't tell anybody besides my immediate family, and I told my best friend.
Mhm.
So I told everybody that I was doing an internship at Disneyland Hong Kong and that I would be gone for a couple of months. And then I came home and I was like the skinniest person on the planet. And so everybody kind of put together that's what had happened, but it was like everybody was shocked that like
Mhm.
this happened. And once the cast was announced, obviously it was super exciting. Everybody in Utah was super excited. The Survivor kid made Survivor, and we did like huge viewing parties where anybody could come and watch. Like we rented out places, and I mean it was freaking awesome. Like
Yeah.
the thing I was most excited for was the opening credits. Like I wanted to see myself in the opening credits, and thankfully they still did them back then.
Yeah, because those
So
credits were amazing. Those credits get you so you get to see each person kind of
exactly.
doing something exciting. Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, and then I didn't tell anybody, that I had at least made the final three, because back then when it was a live announcement of the winner, I did not know that I had won. I thought I was second place. So
Okay.
I was just excited to have made it 39 days. And so once we finally got to the, live winner announcement in Los Angeles, I was pretty convinced it was either a tie for first place between me and Courtney, or I would be second place and Courtney won. And so I was genuinely shocked and surprised that
Yeah,
I
that's
actually got it.
so how was it hard for you like not spilling the beans that you made it so far
Oh
when you
no.
guys
I
no?
love surprises. I love
Oh.
secrets. Like I don't want to know what I'm getting for Christmas. I don't want hints at any kind of surprises. I just want to be surprised. But since I love that, I believe that anybody who is getting a surprise from me must also go through that. And a lot of people hate that. They're like, no. And I'm like, no, you get nothing.
You
He'll
need
get
to
for
tell
me.
me everything. What
Yeah.
happened? Like that
Yeah.
must have definitely been the hardest thing, is just kind of holding back and like not letting them
Yeah.
know like anything about the show. Because
Yeah.
like for me, I know if I was doing well and I came back to all these people, I'd be like, guys, you got to see the show. It's going to be amazing. Like
Yeah.
I would at least drop that and not even tell them anything, but at least drop
So
that. You know?
the one thing that did let my family know that I did well was my little sister came out for the family visit. And that's like final six.
Yeah, that's how you know it make it pretty
So
far. Yeah.
they knew that I was at least final six.
Yeah.
And when I got home, since I believed I was like second place, I guess my lack of like, oh, you never know, kind of let them think that I didn't win either. So they didn't even know I was in the final three. And
Yeah,
so
that was good.
yeah,
You threw him off the scent a little bit.
Well,
exactly.
you
Because
gotta
Yeah.
keep them coming back,
Yeah.
right?
it keeps the excitement alive.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
man, that must
That
have just been. Oof.
It
I
was
know, right?
wild. It was absolutely insane. Honestly, I look back and it doesn't seem real. Like it was
Yeah.
16 years ago, and I like even talking about it and bringing up those old memories. I'm like, wow, holy crap! Like that all happened.
Mhm.
It was weird.
Hmm. So how did it feel like after you got the win? So like what happened after that? Did you get like a little famous and obviously in your town and your city and state probably, you know what I mean? But
It
like
was
what
a
happened like afterwards?
whirlwind, man. It was crazy. Like, yes, everybody watched. I mean, back then, especially, there was like 16 million viewers a week still. And
Yeah.
so I was in the spotlight for a long time, but I didn't like that was never what I wanted. I didn't want to be famous. I didn't
Mm.
want to like be on, other shows and whatnot. I just wanted to play the game of Survivor. So like
Yeah.
it was weird, but I was never one of those people to like act like I was famous, or at least I don't think I did, because I don't
Mm.
believe that I am. I'm just a
Hmm.
Yeah.
guy that got to go play this game that he dreamed of. So I always try to be polite to like any Survivor fan, and I always try to like listen and answer questions because I know that I was the exact same way. And
Mhm.
Hmm.
so, and I had met some Survivor contestants who were very kind to me before I was on the show. And so I was like, that's how I will always treat a fan no matter what, because that
Yeah.
made my entire life back then. And
Yeah.
Hmm.
so it was weird though, because like I could do whatever I wanted. I had just won $1 million and I was 22 years old. So like I traveled a lot and I just had
Yeah.
no cares in the world. And like I was just living my life. I was like crazy.
Living your best life, as they say.
Yeah, I was just like did whatever I wanted. And that to me is the weirdest part, because now I'm so not like that. I'm so structured and so organized and so like the schedule is important. And so I look back and again, that doesn't even feel real, because I was
Mhm.
just crazy. And like I would party like nobody's business, and I just would, you know, I always loved a good drink,
Yeah.
and the drinking just got out of control to the point where I did become like a raging alcoholic. But I was so uneducated in that scenario that I didn't believe that I was. So I didn't
Hmm.
even know like the full extent of addiction until I was in it. So, and people often are like, well, do you blame Survivor and the family? I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I do not blame
Yeah.
that in the slightest bit. Addiction is definitely genetic in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And so, like, I feel like Survivor or not, I would have gone through the same thing.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't educated in this scenario. So I had no idea that I was actually getting to that point. So when I finally did choose to become sober, it was like, we're talking, I went through 10 different rehabs. I went through like thousands and thousands of AA meetings and hospital visits and all sorts of stuff. And I was still in complete denial that I had any kind of problem at all.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until one day that I was like laying on the floor with like a sheet, and I was like shivering and shaking and detoxing. And I was like, what am I doing to myself? Like, what am I doing with my life?
Mhm.
And I walked into the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I said, okay, Todd, this is where you make your decision right now. Do you want to continue doing this and you'll die probably? Or should you probably get your life together? And I had this battle in my head where it was like, okay, but what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do next with my life? I don't know if I want to go to work or school or blah, blah, blah. And something clicked where it was like, that doesn't matter. the real question is like, do you want to live or do you want to die? And I was like, well, I don't want to die. And so I told myself that it was okay to take baby steps. It was okay to go get a job as a server and not look at it like I was like behind in my years, because I was a server at like 32, I think it was 31. I don't even know how old I was, because I kept telling myself, that's bad, that's bad. And I was like, what's bad about this? I'm doing something for myself to better myself. And so that's kind of how I like actually got to sobriety. Was I took those baby steps and I allowed myself to be proud of them rather than criticize myself. And I feel like that's the thing that a lot of people do in their lives that they get caught up in, is like they say like, oh, that sucks, I shouldn't have done that, like I'm a failure, blah blah blah. And it's like, no, you should really start saying like, I am super proud of myself for getting showered today, because I did. I am super proud of myself for this little thing and this little thing, because that will build you up over time. And then you can look back and actually be proud of what you've done. So yeah, that's how I got sober after all those crazy things.
Yeah, that's kind of, me and Tony talk about that a lot of times on the podcast. You kind of celebrate the small victories,
Exactly.
especially for people like Tony and myself, who are struggling with our paralysis. Like, Tony's a paraplegic, I'm a quadriplegic, but like we have different struggles, but it's still the little victories. They still mean, I feel like they mean the most. It's like, I was able to do just this little bit. That's better than what I did yesterday. And a lot of people need to hear what you're saying, because like not everybody's gonna get sobriety or heal or whatever it is. They're not gonna be the same way. There's no cookie cutter design for it. It's everybody has their own process and their own style and their own way to get through it.
Exactly. I mean, and I love that, because like, I feel like as human beings, we generally like to tear ourselves apart. We like to say like, oh, poor me, oh, this sucks, oh, this is hard, oh, this isn't easy. And I understand that, but like you said, when we have those small victories, if we start congratulating ourselves on those rather than just being negative to ourselves, life is okay. Life is going to be all right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of times we're our own worst critics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we constantly tell ourselves, "Oh, this isn't going to change. This isn't going to get any better. So why even try to take those steps?" But the people that do those little steps, just like you and us, and like the community that actually want to do better in life, it's just those little things, man. Those little steps that get you to where you want to be. Like, you're look at you in the background over here. Like, that's awesome. I love your little collection back there. You know what I mean? I don't know how you got to this point, but I'm sure we're going to talk about it. But
Yes.
also, it's just like you said, it's these little victories that make life what it is, man.
Absolutely.
And plus you were really young when you won the show, so you probably were overwhelmed with all this fame and money and all this stuff. When you're young and you get all that stuff, it's kind of difficult to not have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, almost above and beyond.
Like, I mean, and people often will ask me like, oh, do you regret any of that? Like, do you wish that you wouldn't have? And I'm like, why? Like, what good is that going to do again? Like, if I didn't go through all of that, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And the person I am today, I'm really proud of. So like, I wouldn't change a single thing. So yeah, like, it was overwhelming, but it was super exciting, and it was crazy, and it was awesome all at the same time. So
yeah, we all have our own journeys, and that's like, Tony and I would have never met if we both didn't have these, the accidents, obviously are terrible, stuff like that, but me and Tony wouldn't have met half the people, if any of the people that we've met along these past years of our lives, so
now you have a podcast together.
Yeah, and exactly. Now we got
like, this definitely wouldn't happen, that's for sure. If we didn't meet each other, that's for sure.
That's pretty freaking awesome,
I would not have a podcast before, man. Definitely not. So
you're like, no, I'm all set.
Tony gave a little segue. So for those who don't know, I'm going to show it later. I got a custom Funko Pop made of myself by my man Todd here, and I just wanted, like, how did this journey start for you? Because obviously the collecting is one thing, because I love to collect, but then you took it to the next level and you create too. So
it's actually really kind of crazy. So oh my gosh, okay, so I got married, And to someone,
Congratulations.
thank you. He is like super, super artistic, and I never ever was. So, we were working our own jobs. I was at this point managing a movie theater, and he was working at a hair school, and COVID hit, right? Well, we collected Funko Pops very casually. It was like, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and Jurassic Park, ones that we would buy at stores. Well, once COVID hit, and you see online and whatnot, all these people being creative and artistic and like painting and stuff, which was like mostly videos that I would watch of like people saying like you should not be artistic because you know what I mean, like just making
Yeah.
fun of the people trying to be. Anyway, so I was like, let's try to be artistic one night, and I was like, I want to make the Spice Girls into Funko Pops because Funko has not made them. And so I didn't know what I was doing. He didn't know what he was doing, but we started. We bought some clay and we started to like put together custom Funko Pops. And I finished all 5 of them and I was so proud. I was like, they look good. I'm so proud of these. And I posted them online and people were like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And one person reached out and was like, do you think you could make my son? And I was like, yes. And then someone was like, can you make me? Yes. And so I started doing it, and it just like really quickly actually started to explode to the point where I was like, oh, wow, this is like actually turning into something. And then before you knew it, I was booked out like 4 to 5 months. And it was wild. And then it got so big that my husband, Jess, also started doing it. And so we're like, I'll show you. See, say hi.
Hey.
You see him? He's over at his desk and I'm at mine. And so now
Yeah.
we literally this is our full-time job. It's our own little business now. And we make custom Funko Pops all day. It's crazy.
That's the best.
You can say living the dream. If you're doing
Yeah.
something that you actually enjoy doing and making money off of it, that's like the whole goal, isn't it? You know what I mean? Isn't that your life?
Absolutely. And here's the thing is like, I discovered that I am artistic in doing so, which is kind of cool because they always say like, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. And I'm like, well, I learned some. And I'm proud of it. And we do have fun. Like we get to make toys for people and we get to make, people smile, which is really freaking cool, to be honest with you, because a lot of people seem to be scared at first to ask for a pop of themselves or whatever. It isn't weird to me that someone wants one. I think it's awesome if you want one of yourself. Like you should have one of yourself.
Yeah. 100%.
And so if I can make your day by making a little you, then it makes me happy as well. And I don't know, it's just fun. So yeah, we have a good time.
Made my year. Day.
Yes.
Made my day. Yeah, no.
I definitely got a little jealous when I saw Casey's up. I was like, wow, that came out really good. But I definitely commend you on your work because the detail and everything on that is really awesome. Like I was like, damn, yeah, you did a really good job.
Got my straw in there. I didn't even got like my little stickers on the back of my wheelchair. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Attention to detail.
We really try to like get.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's important because anybody can go and like, just paint something, but then it's just a toy that kind of looks like or resembles a person that may be you or not. So that to me is why I was like, I don't want to go into like mass production with a 3D printer. I don't want to go crazy, like hiring people, whatnot. If people want them, they can wait in line just like everybody else. And I'm going to do my best to make every single one look exactly like the person. And to me, it's important because otherwise it's not fun,
Yeah.
But you said that you don't go into like mass production with because a lot of people do that. A lot of people like when they take off with something, they're like, oh, I can make a lot of money off this, so I'm going to start doing it like a different way. But like I like the way you do it, like because you make it unique and you make it like a one of a kind, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point, in my opinion. If it's a custom Funko Pop, it better be freaking custom. It better be exactly what you want, and it better look like the person that you're asking for. Otherwise, it's you might as well just go buy something that has, brown hair or a hat.
Yeah.
Woo.
Somewhat close.
So
Yeah.
you use clay? It's like so all that's like basically like hand sculpted kind of thing, or
So we used to use just clay, but that's
yeah,
not good. So now it's a 2-part epoxy. So it's very expensive and it's very dangerous for your skin when it's wet. So you have to wear gloves. But yes, it is all sculpted. And then it hardens into a solid rock, doesn't shrink, and then I sand it down to like be smooth and pretty, and then paint it. So yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
It's
a
very very
process.
custom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a process. It's well, I mean, I assume so because it's the amount of time like you had to put in for that detail. That's just because I remember when I messaged you and you were like, you're like, hey, you're like, don't be upset. It might be a little while, and I was just like, I do not care. I was like, I remember I was like messaging you like every couple of weeks, like, oh hey, just wanted to check how's it going because I'm pretty fucking
I loved it.
excited.
I was like,
Yeah.
he's really excited. Like I once in a while I'll get people who are excited like that and they'll send a message that just says I'm so excited. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm glad because
Yeah.
if you weren't, that would be sad,
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
good things take time, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that's what people like to wait for. Is just like you want it to come out good, right? You don't want it to come out
Yeah.
crappy. So of course it's going to take
Yeah.
a little bit of time. And then it also, just like it says like about Casey's face when he talks about it, it like it excites you. It gets you in
Yeah.
that zone. It's like, oh, I can't wait
Hell,
to see this thing once it's done.
hell yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lighten up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And like since we collect pops as well, we buy the store ones and we make some for ourselves. It's kind of fun because if we are watching a show, because we have a big TV to put on while we're working, if like something pops up, it's like, oh, I need a pop of that. I'll just
Yeah.
throw it into my mix and slowly work on it over a couple weeks, and then I have a new toy too. So it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's probably so cool. You'll see like you'll watch a show or you're watching, you know what, like they don't have a pop of that. Like I'm gonna make a pop.
Exactly.
Like how you do with all the Survivor cast members. Like Funko
Yes.
Pop's not gonna do that. Like so you're making all these I'm sure like all those people who are just like amazed by like seeing themselves as a Funko Pop. Like I just saw you did Ozzy the other day, and I was like
Yeah.
I forgot. I was like, oh my god, Ozzy is one of my favorite Survivor. I haven't seen him in forever, and then you got a Funko Pop of him. So
One
cool.
of my favorite things is when like the new cast members from each season, usually there's anywhere between like 2 and like 10, and they'll reach out as soon as they're allowed to, and they're like, I need a pop. And it's like they've been waiting for it. They're so excited. So that's really exciting for me because Sandy from Survivor Token Chains was the first Survivor contestant to order one of herself.
Oh really?
And I love her. She's one of the greatest people.
Yeah.
And then Sandra ordered, she was like, I need one from every one of my appearances. And I was like, you got it.
That sounds like Sandra. She seems she was a fierce competitor on the show.
I love her.
Yeah,
she's so great.
I loved watching. She was great TV.
But,
have you ever thought of doing like one of those like how they have sometimes bring back old Survivor members? Would you ever consider doing it again?
So every time that I have been asked if I'm willing to, I say yes. It has not happened yet, and that's okay. But I will always say yes to Survivor if they ask, because it's still, a huge part of my heart. So I would always say yes to Survivor, and I would go play. I don't know how I would do, but I would not know if I didn't try.
That's true. Don't you worry. I'm tagging Jeff Probst in this video.
Good.
We're tagging the CBS team. We're tagging everybody.
I love it. So yeah, I would play again in a heartbeat. I still love Survivor to this day. I think it's 45 seasons is a very long time, and it's still fun to watch. So
yeah, I don't know if you watched Survivor, Tony, but it's like evolved over the time. So like when he was playing, he had to go home before he even knew if he won or not. Like now they do it on the show. Like they'll announce it so like the person will know, but they just have to wait until it's announced on TV. So you had to go home for like months, and then you go to the thing, and then they read the vote out, and you're just like, I've been waiting months for this. The anxiety is just must have been killer for a participant.
I mean, yeah, because we finished filming like August 3rd, and then they didn't read the votes until December 16th or 17th.
Ugh.
And so, yeah, we watched with everybody, and I knew that I had the chance of winning, but like obviously had no clue until it was read live, which was
My
awesome.
anxiety would have been through the roof.
Yes.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Just waiting for like an answer.
Oh
Yeah, it's
man.
just like, oh my God, like it
And then
going
it's
through your
on
head,
live
like,
television too. Oh my
yeah,
god.
oh my God.
Jeez.
It was crazy.
All the feels, all the stuff.
All the feels, right? Yeah,
All of 'em.
especially
All of
because you
them.
said it's live, so that's kind of like crazy. So you get
Yeah.
a great reaction too at the same
Oh my
time. You know
God.
what
Yeah.
I mean?
It was crazy.
Amazing.
Like they announced it. It was super like shocking. You know, I hugged my family. Then it's instantly into a live 1 hour reunion show. They're doing that. And then you walk down like a press line and do the questions there. Then they threw us on a plane, me and Courtney, the runner up, and flew us to New York to go be on the Regis and Kelly show the next morning. So like it
Mhm.
was it was just crazy, you know, like I had not I didn't know what to expect, but it was above and beyond anything I could have imagined. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Especially coming from a small town in Utah,
Oh
and
yeah.
then being thrust into the spotlight. So that must have just been a whirlwind of just craziness.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So what other shows did you go on besides like I'm assuming that you probably did other shows too, and like
I did
what was your
like Regis and Kelly, and I did the Today Show, and then I did some stuff for like the TV Guide Network and like stuff like that. But nothing. It was during the last writer's strike, so any other like late night appearances and stuff were all canceled. So
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because usually when you win something like that, you go on like multiple shows, like everybody wants to talk to you, like late night and all that stuff too. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised that you didn't get many of those, but you said that the strike was going
It
on, so
makes
that does
sense.
make sense. Yeah, 100%.
yeah, I remember I was so bugged. I was like, I just wanted to go on the Ellen show.
Right?
But
Yes, you have the favorites that you definitely want to go on, and you're like,
yes,
can't
'Cause
do it.
I-
Well, maybe if you get called back into the,
Listen.
maybe like a reunion
I'm-
thing, you might be able to
Listen,
make that happen. Well, not anymore, actually.
I'm starting a petition after we air this episode, and we're gonna make it happen. So that's
like I
it's
said,
gone.
I would not say no. I mean, keep in mind, it was like 17 years ago, like a long time ago. So I am definitely older, but I will go out there and I will try.
That's it. Listen,
Exactly.
all you can do is try, like you said.
Exactly. I mean, you won't know unless you try, and so
Exactly.
you gotta at least give it a go.
And worst case scenario, you get to hang out like 30 days at Ponderosa. Like, ooh, like
Listen, I would go out there, and I honestly believe that I would do well again.
I think you would.
So
Just from being a fan of the show, I think you'd be just fine.
Just
Like
because it's a mental game.
Yeah,
and I
100%.
feel like I'm pretty good at adapting that way. So
look at all the things you've overcame. Like you're not that 22-year-old kid anymore. Like you're a grown adult and you've been through ups, downs, left, rights, and
I would be the one that's like, oh, those kids.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like,
what are they
kids,
doing?
look at these CrossFitters out here. It's
like, be like, yeah, I was doing a TikTok, and I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah, what TikTok? Like that old person on the porch, like
my lifestyle nowadays.
Yeah,
it's
no.
like
Listen,
these kids nowadays have no idea.
We're all
I had
watching.
MySpace when my season was on. Okay, that's
that's letting the world know when that was.
Yes,
Yeah, because
the youngins are like, MySpace, what is that?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but then you really think about it, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, it was.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
but
I got a question. Do you still have the original Spice Girls that you started with? The Funko Pops that you made? You do. Can we see them?
Yes. Oh shoot! Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
I might have shut the camera off.
There we are.
There you go.
Okay. Can you see them up there?
Okay.
Oh, nice. So those are like the first ones you've ever made.
Yes, and I put them in that cool little display case.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's
the very
cool.
first.
Yeah, I'm assuming that you're gonna hold on to those. Those are the like pretty close to the heart, probably. I'm thinking.
Yes, those are the OGs.
Yeah, you can't get rid of the OGs. That's what sparked it. That's what sparked this whole business.
Yes, I mean, I still can't believe it. It's kind of crazy, and now we've made about 3,600 since then. Because we number every single one. So
nice.
If you look, Casey, on the little plastic box that I put it in, there's a circle with a number on it.
Just like the Funko Pops. Oh,
that's what number yours is.
Didn't even look at the box.
Crazy.
Didn't even
He's
look
like,
at the
just let
box.
me see the Funko Pop.
I was like, open the pop now.
Exactly.
I was like, I need this in my. I need this right now.
Yeah, it's yours is probably like 32 something,
Love it.
3,200 something,
The
Oh,
maybe.
best.
that's
I don't know.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So it's
with
just crazy.
Survivor,
Yeah.
I know you got. I know you said you got to get going a little bit. Do you have any like the stuff like the buff, your buff from Survivor, or any
Yes.
like
So
little trinkets?
I still have my two buffs,
Okay.
from Fei Long and He Feng, and then I have my clothes, and I have. Do you remember the challenge where we wore Chinese armor? So like we're wearing like this crazy Chinese armor, throwing these things,
Yeah.
and I have the armor.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then I have my torch and my tribe
Okay.
mat. So the one thing
Nice.
I wanted was my torch. And so
Yeah.
they sell all of that on eBay afterwards. So I was online bidding on my torch, and someone outbid me last second. So I didn't win. And I was pissed. So I bid on my tribe mat, the Fei Long tribe mat. And I won that. And then I also bid on the Chinese armor, and I won that. So it was like 3 years later, someone emailed me and was like, I had no idea I was bidding against you. I don't feel right having it. I'll sell it to you for half of what I paid. And I was like, sold. So I got my torch.
You could tell that person was probably a Survivor fan and was like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Yeah. And so his name is Jan. And I actually like Jan is known for buying Survivor torches. So he had like 80 of them.
All of them.
But he didn't know that he was bidding against me. So thank you to him for being so sweet and letting me have my torch.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you good? What do you got? Anything else, Tony? What's up?
Yeah, no, I'm great. I'm thank you for coming on and telling us your story, and like, your whole
thank you
Funko
for
Pop
having
and
me.
Survivor, is great having you. And I loved, I'm definitely gonna have to reach out to you and probably make a Funko Pop of myself. I know you're probably
I'm
backed up,
happy
but
to do it.
I'll definitely probably do that along the line.
I'm doing so what we do is like in September, because come November it's insane. So in September I do what's called the Super September sale, and I'll post a different sale each week of September, and it's to encourage people to get their holiday orders in early so that I can guarantee them before the holidays, right?
Yeah.
So I always say, I'll take your order whenever, but if you're smart and you don't want to wait super long for that order, you do it right around now, because it's going to get crazy soon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. I am one of those people that don't mind waiting though, because I love when somebody's creating something, I want them to take as long as they want, as long as it comes out, beautiful.
I am
it's
so
all
glad
good.
that you understand that.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't mind one bit. That's why you told me, and I was just like, okay, here's Venmo right now, bam.
And it didn't take super long, right, Casey? It was
definitely not. Like it was
a
probably
month.
like maybe like 4 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, like
That's
it wasn't
bad.
It's gotten to the point now. It's been almost 4 years that we've been doing this, so like, it's to the point where I can work on 10 at a time and still focus on all 10 of them. But I can like sculpt a bunch, and while they're drying, I can paint other. So like, it's a very organized chain now, so it doesn't take as long as it used to, thankfully, just because it's second nature now.
Definitely.
I've got like literally heads all over, literally laying all over the place, because I'm doing it right now.
Love it.
Nice, dude.
So like Tony said, like thank you for coming on the podcast.